One of the most important moments in the history of the Israelite people is the moment when Moses was tending his father-in-law's flocks on the foothills of the holy mountain Horeb, when he saw from a distance a strange sight. It was a bush on fire, but not consumed by the flames. He approached to get a closer look at this strange sight. And from the fire a voice spoke to him, the voice of God. Moses, recognizing God's presence, removes his sandals and falls to his knees. And God, again speaking from the flames, tells Moses his name, I am who am, and commissions Moses to lead the people of Israel out of the clutches of Pharaoh and the Egyptians and into the promised land. Moses objects that he is an ordinary man, that he has no stature, and moreover, he has a speech impediment. He's not able to speak well. But that does not deter the Lord. The Lord tells Moses that he will give him the words he is to speak, and he will perform great signs through him to rescue the people of Israel. You know how the story follows from there. The Exodus, the great plagues. Today, we celebrate an even greater manifestation of God and calling of God to each and every one of you. Today, instead of appearing from a distance in the image of a burning bush, God, with flames of fire, comes to rest in the hearts, minds, and souls of His church, His apostles, and us. He not only shares His name with us, the name He shared with Moses, He comes to live inside of us. And the power of that name comes to reside in our souls. Just as Moses was called by God to rescue his people, to be a leader of his people, to deliver them from a kingdom of darkness into the promised land, so too we, receiving this gift of the Holy Spirit, this gift of divine fire within us, are called to lead, are called to guide, are called to help our brothers and sisters, our family members, our neighbors, our co-workers, to come out of despair, of hopelessness, of lack of faith, of confusion, and into the life and light that God has prepared for them. We might have all the same objections that Moses had when he was given his calling. Who are we? We have no stature. We have no influence or power. We may have all sorts of obstacles in our lives, impediments of one kind or another, that cause us to think that we are not qualified for this mission. But the Lord is not deterred by our weakness. He's not deterred by our excuses. Instead, He pours His gifts from heaven into our hearts this day to fulfill his desire, the desire Jesus spoke when he said that we are to be the light of the world. We cannot be that light unless we catch fire. That gift of the Holy Spirit was given to you at first in your baptism. It was strengthened in a marvelous way at your confirmation. It is rekindled even after sin, serious sin, when we go to the holy sacrament of reconciliation. And that light burns brighter every time we receive the bread of angels, Jesus, truly present in the Eucharist. The world needs your light. And that is why the Holy Spirit calls you. That is why the Holy Spirit resides in you as his home. And that is why we celebrate Pentecost, to remind ourselves of this calling and to receive that gift from on high afresh. After the apostles receive the gift of the Spirit, they go forth and they speak the gospel in all the languages of their hearers. The truth is, brothers and sisters, there are people outside of this church who are waiting to hear the gospel from you, who, in God's plan and providence, can only hear it and receive it from you and the words you will speak because of the gifts God has given you, because of your story, the trials God has delivered you from. Only you have those words. And someone is waiting to hear those words from you, waiting to be saved, waiting to be delivered from slavery into freedom. That was Moses' call thousands of years ago. It was the apostles' call thousands of years ago. And it is our call to go forth by the power of the Spirit, filled with gifts from on high, to be a light to others and set this cold, dark world aflame with the love of heaven, the love of the Holy Spirit.